Yeah, go ahead.
My name is Shalom Braunstein. I'm the principal of Sympathic here.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
All right. How are you?
I'm hanging in there.
Yeah.
So
we spoke to a lady associated with you, whose name was Ilana yesterday. I hope I got it right.
Yes. And I wanted to call in and just, if you had any questions, and to try to clarify a little bit what happened.
Well, I mean, are you still interested in consummating this agreement?
Yes.
At the agreed upon price?
Yes, that was never a discussion. And as far as us having the wherewithal to do that, the Department of Health did a very thorough background on us, and just so you know, it's not, they're saying the number that's being spoken about is $32 million. The reality is that this was a $36 million purchase for 321 beds and a 57-bed LTAC, long-term care hospital. And I do want to speak a little bit about the LTAC, because having a long-term care hospital in Rockland County it's extremely unique, and it would be very disappointing if Rockland County were to lose that license. We worked very hard, Sympathic Care, to convince the Department of Health to grant us the med-surg license that was necessary, and we would be the only real long-term care hospital in the state of New York. There are 400 of them in the country, and it was a big coup for Rockland County to obtain this hospital license. As far as the nursing home, we were in contract on 321 beds. The Department of Health wasn't going to approve 321 beds, and the county gave us a $3 million reduction because it was 41 beds less that we were approved for. The Department of Health, and the approval that we received on August 6th, they also required that we had to invest over $35 million in capital improvements in the building, because the building had deteriorated, and in order to bring it up to code, that's what would be needed. In order to be approved, they did background checks, and they wanted to see liquidity, not on 32, 33, or 36 million, on over $70 million. Actually, the number was 72 million that they wanted to see, and we were able to show not only that we had the equity, but that we had the liquidity to do this.
Right.
So we're still prepared.
Why did you, at the last minute, terminate the contract? I don't understand that.
Okay, so there were conditions precedent to the contract that the county couldn't fulfill. One of them, for example, was the transfer of the title. There was the 2/3 majority issue. I don't know if you're familiar with Orange County. Also, what happened here? Rockland County owns a building, Summit Park, and in order to sell it, they chose to transfer it to a local development corporation, an LDC. When they transferred it, they needed the legislature's approval. The legislature voted for it, but they didn't get they had a majority of the legislature, not a supermajority, which would be 2/3. They needed 12 votes. In Orange County, they did a similar thing, and it was appealed, and the appeal was over. The decision was, they won the appeal. The people who said that they were against the sale said you didn't have 2/3, and the courts ruled with the appeal. So I was at a legislator meeting on September 16th. Now, this happened in the beginning of August, and no one from the county informed us about this issue. And at the legislator meeting at September 16th that I attended, the county had their attorneys from Harris Beach, and at that meeting it became public. The legislators were questioning them, and it came out that, there's an issue transferring the title. Now, there were other issues. There's litigation from Northern Services Group. There was an issue with the zoning, having the subdivision. This Summit Park is on a 72-acre piece of land, the Jaeger complex. The county
that issue between Northern Services and you was strictly between the two. Did the county factor into that? I don't remember.
Yeah, so let me backtrack a little bit. In January of 2014, the LDC chose a bidder. It was the top bidder. The name was Allure Group, and they negotiated with them for about 3 months. and after 3 months, Northern Services Group brought a litigation, and Allure decided to drop out. The county reached out to me and asked me if I would be interested in still purchasing Summit Park. I said I would. As a Rockland County resident, it was important for me. I felt that this had major potential. I understood that it had been mismanaged for many years, but I'm a nursing home turnaround specialist. The LTAC was unique. It was exciting because there was no LTAC, so it's not like anybody in New York has experience with LTAC, but I put together a team from Texas, from North Carolina, and we had an administrative team that was going to operate and manage the LTAC and make it a truly unique health center in the state of New York. We expected to attract patients from New York City, from upstate, not just Rockland. Now, when on that first call that I had the county attorneys, I said, look, I'm willing to go into this in good faith. However, there's pending litigation. I'm familiar with the Northern Group. I understood that they're suing the county. I wasn't part of the litigation at all. They were suing the county for one of the things that they were suing them for was that the county didn't have a right to sell the hospital. They felt they only had a right to sell the nursing home because the nursing home was losing money. So the lawyers said to me, within 6 weeks, the lawsuits are going to be dismissed. However, the lawsuits, unfortunately, were not dismissed till December of 2014, 9 months later. And the way the Department of Health works, this is not a real estate transaction. When people are like, oh, it took so long, if you go on the LDC website, just for a nursing home CON, Certificate of Need application, it takes anywhere from 12 to 18 months. Now, this was a very complicated nursing home CON because of the disparity between the beds that were being occupied and the license capacity. The license capacity was 321, and the county was operating at 180. Now, I had been pushing the county as soon as we signed a contract in July, like we have to start bringing up census, filling up the beds, marketing the facility. You have a buyer, because if you're going to want the Department of Health to prove the maximum number of beds, you have to show them there's a need. At 180, they're not going to be approving 321 beds. Unfortunately, I didn't receive any cooperation with that.
Well, anyway, this just becomes so far afield. I'm not rushing to it all, but just for the average person who listens, and many do listen to this radio program in the morning, what can you possibly, would you possibly do to try to shore up this agreement again?
I think the question is really to the county. We amended the agreement, asked for an extension to 12/31. We would withdraw the termination, and the county never responded. The response that I received was yesterday through a press conference that was held. So it's right. Really a question. Well, we're prepared to do this. I think really your question has to be directed to the county and the LDC. Like, what is it that they need in order to do this? Because we've been prepared. I went into this in good faith a year and a half ago, and we're hoping to close on this and save the jobs, save the homes of the residents, and just save the taxpayers in the future of Rockland County.
How many are there in there now? You say just 180?
There are less. Over the last 10 days, the county has worked very hard to discharge as many people as possible. However, from what I understand, there are no more beds left in the county. So even though there are about 140 patients and residents still left in Summit Park, there's nowhere left to go.
If you were to take over, what would you do with the current employees? Would you at least give them the opportunity to reapply and stay on?
We did that. We interviewed about 300 employees. Many of them have chosen to retire, but we were expecting to hire, and I said this many times in public, about 200 employees. Okay, and I'm led to believe that you had already said you would accept the CSEA. This may be a moot point now, because I don't know if the county's going to move on this at all. I personally don't think they are, but you never know. You agreed to accept the CSEA as the bargaining agent, correct? Yes, we have a recognition agreement with the CSEA. We we had been working closely with them throughout this process. One of the things that was very important was that this go as smoothly as possible. And this is any transition, any change is difficult, and we want it to be as communicative as possible and work with the CSEA who was going to continue representing the employees and ensure, the caregivers that have been there for 15, 20, 30 years at Summit Park, not to have them continue after a sale would be a shame. So it was very important to work closely with the CSEA to make sure that we were on the same page throughout this process.
Well, Mr. Braunstein, Ed, the county executive, will be on after 8:15 if you want to hear his take on it. I didn't think we were going to go here again this week. But, we're just trying to be the arbiter. We really would hope that something, productive could be done. A lot of people listen to this radio program every morning. And, again, we're not taking any side in anything. It's just... obviously, there's a dichotomy of opinion between what we hear from you and what we hear from the county executive, and we haven't heard from anybody from the LDC yet. But
right. Well, I'm hoping good people can put their heads together and figure something out for the future. Like I said, we're still committed to this process, and hopefully something can be worked out to save the homes and jobs of the people at Summit Park.
Mr. Braunstein, thanks very much for the call.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right. Take care.